Hello everyone, and welcome to the War Thunder official stream. My name is Michael Boom, and I'm joined here by the lovely Tom, aka Oxy, and today we have something very special to show these guys, don't we?
That we do, Mike. That we do. Are you excited?
I am very excited. In fact, I don't think I've been this excited about the patch in a long time now. This is very feature rich. You're going to be seeing some amazing stuff that you have not seen before, because guess what? This is a dev stream. We are going to be showing you some of the content that is coming in the next major update. Wind of Change. Why do all the updates all start with the W now? It confuses me.
I don't know, but I like that. It's a good letter, I think. It's quite versatile, so I'm a fan.
It's a big W.
It's a big W, yeah. That's what you can expect.
How about we start right off then?
Strong.
And you know what? Usually what we do is we keep the best for last to tease you guys a little bit, but we're not going to be doing that today because I know exactly what you are here for. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Brits time. Welcome the A-10 into War Thunder. The legendary ground attack aircraft of the Americans is finally in the game now. We have two variants currently available, which is the tech tree. Hold on, wrong one. What am I doing? No.
Stuck in the new loading. That's quite a good loading screen, actually.
It's actually a very good loading screen. I don't mind that.
Defeated by the UI in less than 2 minutes. Let's go.
Great start of the stream, I know. We got a tech tree version at currently battery 9.7, which, by the way, actually I forgot to do that. There you go, work in progress. This is all work in progress. Take what you see today with a grain of salt, because this is a very early preview. Nothing you see here is finished just yet, so any kind of loadout options or armament options or battle ratings are all subject to change. Just keep that in mind. Don't go on Reddit all angry because something is not the way you expect it to be, which may be a case later on. I think I have something that is a bit out of place right now. We got a tech tree version, the A-10A, as well as a premium, which is actually currently on pre-order. Today, the pre-order pack was made available. If you pre-order the A-10A premium version, you get a very nice title.
Yes, you do.
Title?
Yes, I have.
It's an amazing title. I love it. It's literally brrrt.
They know. They know what people want.
They know indeed. Now, the A-10 has some very interesting options. As you may know, of course, it is famous for the GAU-8 30mm cannon capable of firing depleted uranium armor-piercing shells, which indeed, it does have a decent amount of penetration. 102mm from an aircraft cannon is not bad. Now, you kind of had the shell before already in the A-7E, for example, with the GAU-13 gun pod, which fires basically the same shells, but with less volume of fire. This is basically it's a Gatling gun, but it's extremely quick. You can do a lot of area denial with this cannon. You also have access to a fair few different loadout options, and there may be some weird stuff here.
Yep.
Things that were shown in the trailer that may not be quite here. Let's just say we are working on something quite special for loadouts, aren't we?
Yeah, yes. Which I think people will actually be very happy to see. That's all working properly.
It is sadly not quite implemented right now, but expect some interesting stuff coming to customization of loadout options in the future. At least for these kinds of planes, for the new ones, and maybe other older planes in the future as well.
Yep. As
time develops. Now, one of the major loadouts that you can actually have here, and this is entirely new for aircraft in this game, is the A9L. This is an all-aspect Sidewinder. This missile isn't entirely new. It was present on the AH-1Z before, for example, but it's the first time we actually have it on an aircraft. And on the A-10, not less. It's going to be interesting in dogfights.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a fast plane, is it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's very much in that kind of vulture scenario with just how slow it is comparatively. So actually getting to use the missiles very effectively. Because I mean, people back in the day when the L was on the H1Z, wasn't really any flares, and it was like pretty nuts. But now that, you know, pretty much every aircraft around the battle rating has flares, it's, you know, they're going to get pulled pretty easily. So
absolutely. I mean, the M9Ls are a little bit better against flares than the R60s are for the Russians. But they're still not immune to flares, so that is definitely something that you can defend yourself with if you happen to be going head-on against an A-10. Now, let's test out the gun a little bit, shall we? Here is the A-10 in flight. Quite a nice use model. We also have some new features, by the way. We have now 4K textures. You may have seen the news post for that, as well as various improvements to micro shadows and just a whole lot that we're going to be talking about in this stream. Now, of course, a A-10 is going to be quite vulnerable to something like an SPAA, given that in order to get close enough to actually use the gun, you are going to be exposing yourself to the counterfire from the SPAA. Thankfully, the A-10 does have access to the AGM-65B Mavericks, which are a decently long-range air-to-ground missile. Usually you can actually go up to around 8 kilometers in ideal conditions, which is outside of the range of most AA missiles, of most SAMs. I'm going to see if I can do a little attack one. This is of course not very representative, we are quite close. But you can log on from third person. The missile goes by itself. And missiles do as missiles do. They deal with the SPA quite effectively. Now, of course, I know that you guys want to be using the gun instead, so let me find a little target here. How about, let's say a tank. I believe that's a T-55 down below, which should be a decent test for the armor pacing capabilities of this cannon. As you can see, it's not the most maneuverable aircraft out there. I like the sounds.
I mean, I can't hear it, but I get the impression it's very nice.
Just imagine a giant bird in your head. Not a bird, a bird.
Oh,
I love it.
I think the sound is different from the cockpit as well. Maybe you can share that.
It is indeed.
That's
so
quite
let me
nice
do another attack run. And listen to the sound now.
Very nice, dude.
I absolutely love this thing, and I'm looking forward to fly this thing in the live game against other players. I mean, of course, it is a CAS aircraft first and foremost, so you are going to be seeing a lot in ground RB. But with the AIM-9Ls, it may not be entirely useless in air RB.
We'll have to see. I think it's very easy to counter a vehicle like that if you're kind of aware that you're fighting one. But yeah, not sure. We will have to see.
Just before we move ahead to the next vehicle, I just want to quickly mention the premium version has, at least currently, less A9Ls than the Tech Tree version. That is the distinction right now. And this is the loadout you saw in the trailer. Okay, let's move on to the next vehicle then. We have a long-awaited one.
Yes, the B-26B, which is in the American tree. There's another version in the French tree we can have a look at a bit later. So yeah, people are wanting this for a very, very long time. It's quite nice, but it's not, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be immensely impressive, but I really like it. The model looks great. It's decently quick for what it is, even though, well, it's still a pretty big bomber. Not really the most maneuverable, but it's pretty good. Bomb load is quite nice as well. We can take a look at that. So there's a lot of options here. I believe this might be a new bomb. I don't remember this one.
I think so. I don't remember a 600-pound bomb before.
Yeah. So you do have a pretty effective bomb load, all things considered, which is nice. It's a nice little bomber. I mean, say little, it's not. It's I think people in their head will imagine this thing is smaller than it is. It's pretty big and not really the best defended in terms of, well, if you have a fighter that knows what you're doing. You've got the two gunners at the back here, but they don't really cover the waist or from below. So it has like Shackleton syndrome of being having quite a large dead zone, which is a bit of a shame. But, you know, you can, a decently average speed defensive fly a little bit, which is quite important for a lot of bombers to kind of, you know, break the initial pass. You can do that. But it's going to get countered quite effectively by a fighter that knows what they're doing. But either way, it's nice we finally have it. And decent bomb load. Defensive guns are good in the right areas. And you do have some frontal guns as well. So it's very much like the Mitchell in that sense. You do have 5, I think, frontally, apart from the gunner. So yeah, nicely versatile. It's going to be nice for the B-17.
One thing I've noticed about the B-26, and this is not the only version, by the way, we're going to be showing you another one later on, it has a lot of gunners. It has a gunner for each individual gun, which results in a lot of crew.
Lots of peoples, which is very nice. Yep. Love to see it.
B-26, it's finally in the game, guys. Speaking of finally in the game, I've been begging the developers to add this vehicle for a long time now. I've mentioned this on stream multiple times. Well, it's here now. We have the LAV-AD in the game as well, finally. Now, the LAV chassis is not new. We had this before on the Striker, but this turret is entirely new. We have a 25mm Gatling gun. We have Stinger launchers, which has access to the FIM 92K missile. Still not ideal, still not the best surface-to-air missile out there, but usable to some extent, at least against helicopters. And what surprised me the most is just a random Hydra launcher.
Yeah, just hanging out. I like it.
I'm going to show you the stats in the hangar as well, anti-modification, so you can see. Let me quickly go into Reddit mode, which, wrong one, which also needs the work in progress. There we go. So, you have access to 2 types of missile. By standard, you have access to the FIM-92E, and you can upgrade that to the 92K. You also have your default gun belt over here, a 50-50 mix between HE and HVAP. The full AP belt, or well, almost full AP belt, has 91mm of penetration, which means you can go through the sides of a decent amount of tanks, but you may struggle against some of the heavier Soviet tanks, for example, the MBTs, that do tend to have quite a bit of armor on the sides. You have access to thermals as well. No laser rangefinder in the modifications, although I believe it already has it by default. And we're going to quickly take this out in test drive, just so you can hear the gun and the missile anti-hydro launcher, which is really quite interesting.
Yes. Have a look. People are asking if it's amphibious as well. Maybe we can have a look.
We can try that out. I mean, I believe the LAV chassis should be amphibious as far as I'm aware. Okay, now, I'm not going to go after these aircraft just yet. I'm going to try the SAM missile. Let's see if this actually works. Although they don't tend to be amazing when the aircraft is flying away from you. They're more an anti-helicopter weapon, not so much an anti-jet weapon. Don't have too much energy, but that works out, not too bad. The gun sound is also very bird-like. Honestly, the Americans just have all the good stuff this patch.
They do actually, yeah.
Over bird, it's amazing.
I'm quite a fan. That track's so good. Try barrel as well on one of the. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Nice.
What? What did you say?
I said maybe you can fire at a barrel to see how quickly it disables it.
It does decently quick if you get the shots in. Of course, at these ranges it's going to be a bit complicated, given that the Gatling gun does spread a little bit. But as you can see, cannon barrel was indeed disabled, and of course you also have Hydro launcher. Because why not? It's not going to be amazing against the front of Russian tanks, but it can be quite useful when you cannot penetrate mediumly armored tanks with your gun. Of course, given that this is a wheeled vehicle, the mobility on mud is going to be absolutely terrible, but we're going to quickly try out if this works in water, if it is amphibious.
Go, go, go.
Maybe I can even use a little speed boost here. I just love the sound, man. I love the sound.
Love the sound, man. It's my fave.
Are we going to be floating? Yes, we are indeed. Okay, so there you go. It does indeed float. Although it doesn't seem to be able to turn right now. This may just be my controls. I'm not sure what my controls are in the server. But yeah, seems to be amphibious. Seems to have everything indeed in order. And I'm really looking forward to this. Now, there's one major issue in the application of anti-air with this specific vehicle, given that you don't have any radar. But with the SAM launchers and the Gatling gun, you can do some nasty stuff to enemy helicopters. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, next up we have... Oh, a big boy. A very big boy.
A very, very chunky lad. Arizona. Finally got this. People have been wanting this for quite a while. Brings the US up in terms of the battleships they have, which is pretty nice. I can't really speak to performance that much. I have not played battleships for quite a while. Too much of the Scharnhorst from the last one. But we can have a look at bits of the arm here. So angled, pretty nuts. I like that a lot. And if we can take a look as well. I don't believe it gets SAP. It's just the AP and the HE. So we can have a brief look at that. All the mods here. Hydroplane as well. It gets I think it's a new hydroplane this one gets. I don't think this is on anything else, is it? I can't remember. I'm not sure.
Actually, no.
But it's pretty nice. Hopefully we can see those playable at some point. And they'll...
One thing I've noticed with this ship in particular is the reload rate is quite slow. It takes a long time to reload those guns.
Yep, that's pretty sad, all things considered. But, I mean, performance is still going to be pretty great. And I mean, one thing I like about the ships is the, like, obscene detailing in here. Like, I can't even comprehend all of that, man. It's too much for my tiny brain. I can't
imagine the man hours that went into that.
Yeah.
We had a ship with toilets inside.
That's pretty cool. That's, considerate. So
I can't remember which one it was, but someone made that.
Yep. Yeah, if you wanted to see the stats of the guns and stuff, here they are to observe. Yeah, pretty nice. I'm I'm glad we can see this now. So there's more reason to go for the highest echelon of the American naval.
It does have substantially better AA protection than some of the early ships, which is quite nice. We also have a new gunboat for the Americans, which is the Kim Kui, which is actually a South Vietnamese boat. Believe it or not. Nothing too special about this one. It is a rather slow gunboat with decent armament for a gunboat, but it's not going to be doing anything against enemy destroyers, given that the best we really have is the 40mm Bofors here, as well as a twin 20mm cannon in the back for dealing with aircraft. It can actually do some decent stuff against enemy aircraft, but against enemy bigger ships, not so much. But you can hunt down some enemy PT boats. Although, since you are so slow, you have to be careful that you don't get encircled by them. Okay, and that's it for America, at least for the time being. Keep in mind, there may be more stuff coming, there may not. I don't know. You'll have to figure out when the patch actually goes live, and the upcoming test server as well. But we have now something for the Germans as well. Quite a few things, actually. Which is starting off with... Oh, these things. Starting off with the German Puma. Rejoice. The Puma is here. This is the new IFV for Germany. It has a 30mm autocannon, which is capable of firing the following shells up to APFS-DS. Now, this is actually quite interesting because you can use this to pretty much wreck any MBT from the side.
It's pretty good, yep. I believe it gets a proxy HE as well.
It does indeed. I'm not entirely sure if it's proxy or if it's time-fused. Yep. At least according to the animation, it's time-fused. It's really just supposed to be used against helicopters and not against enemy aircraft. You're not really going to have a great time using this against aircraft. Especially given that the fire rate of the cannon is surprisingly slow.
Yep, it's not very quick.
We're going to do a quick test drive so I can check it out. It's not a very quick firing cannon, so you have to be careful with your shot placement to a certain degree. It does have decent thermal vision. This is should be Gen 2 from the resolution, if not Gen 3 actually. It's not bad at all. And the fire rate is not the best.
I'll allow it.
It's workable though. Now, one interesting thing, this vehicle actually has a very good side protection against chemical rounds.
It's not bad at all, really, for what it is. So I was quite surprised by that.
You got some ERA plates here on the side, as well as some NERA elements. And this can block heat shells up to 500mm in penetration, which at this batch rating you may actually face. Most of the heat shells fired from the early L7 105mm cannons are 400mm in penetration. So they should be able to shrug those off, if it doesn't get damaged in other ways. Also very interesting, no crew in the turret. The turret is entirely crewless. It is remotely commanded by the commander, which means that turret shots, if they don't detonate the ammo, will not kill you. But at the same time, it reduces the amount of crew that you have, so that if you get shot in the right side of the hull, for example, you just die. You only have 3 crew. 2 go down, you are gone. Okay, next up we have an experimental German prototype.
Yes, Premium, Term 3. Pretty interesting. I like this. Pretty different to what's available, and especially considering the coax here. Ammo rack though, pretty nuts. I'm a fan of that. I believe these are all counted in the same rack, so you don't need to worry about replenishing it very much. But survivability, not exactly a strong point in any respect. You can probably save off a little bit of fragmentation with this kind of like the ball around here, but even so, it's not really that reliable in terms of protection. The coax as well is nice. It doesn't get the API round or like an AP round. And the other thing as well is if you take it into a test drive, I don't know if we have time for that bit. If you fire the coax in the scope, the smoke obscures pretty much the entire gun sight. I don't know if it's still the case, but if you fire it, it's really hard to see what's going on. So yeah, it's pros and cons to really using that thing. But for what it is, it's nice. Weird stuff like that is always a big W in my book, so yeah, I like to see it. It's gonna be nice for 8.0. Got some good lineups that can work in, and all things considered, it's pretty okay. Yeah, like it.
Okay, next up for the Germans, we have 2 GDR aircraft, the German Democratic Republic, Old East Germany, featuring now the Su-22 UM3K.
No sound, apparently.
No sound, apparently. Should be sound now. featuring the Su-22 UM3K and the MiG-23 MLA. The Su-22 UM3K I'm going to show you in the tech tree as well as the Puma. In case you're interested, the Puma comes right after the Marder A1. The Su-22 comes right after the F-84F, so quite down in the tech tree here. It's a historic aircraft. Interesting for the Germans here, it has access to laser-guided missiles. The KH-25ML specifically are quite interesting because you can fire them all at once. Yes. And you can kind of stagger them. So you can have them all in flight in like 5-second intervals and have them manually guided, essentially. They autocorrect their course towards your laser point. So if you kill one tank, you can then point towards the other one and the next missile will hit that. So it's very effective in that regard. You also have access to a decent bit of bombs and other armament as well. So it should be quite nice for all the German CAS and bomber players out there. Speaking of, we also have the new top-tier jet for Germany, the MiG-23 MLA. This is very similar to the MLD in performance, although with slightly worse aerodynamics, so you can kind of compare the two with one another. Swing-wing aircraft, of course. If you have flown the MLD before, you know what this thing is all about. Interesting, it has a lot of flares. You have the 2 ridges of flares on the top, and another one in between the gear as well, so access to quite a few flare launches, especially for a Soviet-origin aircraft, which is not bad at all. In terms of armament, again, this may be incomplete. Keep that in mind, work in progress. You have the following. You finally now get access to the R-24 missiles. These are long-range, either infrared in the T version or radar in the R version for long-range engagements. And you also have access to the R60, not the R60M, the R60, which are not quite as good, but still very usable indeed, as well as some minor loadout options for ground strike. No laser-guided missiles, sadly.
I'll have to see. Maybe there's some more ordnance to come. It does also get the same like crazy radar as the Russian MLD as well, which is really nice. So yeah, not really as good in terms of flight performance as the wings, but yeah, it's nice. Gets good radar. Missiles are great. It depends if we can get a more mixed loadout with them. I'm not sure if that's going to come yet. Probably, I imagine it probably will, but I don't really know much about the historic loadout of that thing. But either way, nice.
I would hope so, at least. We also have a addition to the coastal fleet for Germany, the Karl Marx. This is essentially a adaptation of the Soviet PR-50. Which one was it? The PR-50 Yenot. Yeah. It's basically the same ship, but as a premium in the German coastal fleet. You have access to some mortar rocket launchers and some other stuff as well, like proxy fuse HE, torpedoes, and depth charge launchers. The proxy fuse HE should be quite interesting against enemy aircraft.
I can show you this. Hopefully it's all back now. T-55 AMD1, which is very, very similar to the premium, but with some APS at the sides here. It's very, very nice. Apart from that, it's very similar to the premium. Same, pretty much, ordnance I think is pretty much exactly the same. And the main difference really is the APS. Maybe we can show that here as well. If the test drive works, and there's no...
Wait, we didn't mention that yet, did we?
No, we didn't.
A new feature coming to War Thunder.
Apps.
Maybe let's just not tell them exactly what it is. Maybe just show and tell. I think that's a good way to do it.
Okay.
That's a weird looking circle in the middle of your test drive map, Tom.
That is kind of weird, yeah. I mean, circles are good shapes, so I'm not really sure. I'm just hanging out here, really.
Oh no, is it a missile?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's nothing to worry about because what are these on the sides here? What do they do?
It appears that we have hard kill APS in the game now.
Is there a soft kill analog, or does that not exist?
Soft kill would be the Dazzlers, as far as I'm aware.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, you get 8 of these on the sides. They only work from the front. If we look at the bottom left, there's only part of the hemisphere covering the front where the protection is. And you get 8 of these charges, and I believe we turn the turret. This thing is not really the... Well, Russian earlier and MBTs are not the best at turning. But if we turn the turret all the way around, I'm not sure exactly how much...
Try a bit further, perhaps, as well.
Yeah, so it's only from the front. If it's working right now, I'm not sure if it is. We'll have to see.
Ow.
No. Okay. So there's still...
work in progress. Work in progress.
But yeah, just imagine that there's no protection from the sides or the back.
Indeed, it should only have protection from the front. And this is not the only vehicle with APS being introduced in this patch. We're going to be showing you another one later on, which is also going to include some testing. Because I have a feeling the chat is going to be interested in what kind of projectiles this can actually block.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. In fact, how about we do that right now?
How about we do that? What good timing. Wonderful.
Okay, let's moving on to Great Britain. We have the Challenger 2 Black Knight. This is one of the most modern versions of the Challenger 2 currently fielded, and it also introduces hard kill active protection systems, which are these things right here on the top of the turret. Now, not too much to talk about the tank itself. The gun is basically the same. The modifications are all basically the same. May have some additional protection, but other than that, it's very much a Challenger 2. But the hardkill APS system is going to be quite interesting against helicopters and the A-10 as well. So, before you do that, Tom, can you quickly show off the next vehicle whilst I set up a custom battle on our new map, where we are going to be testing this out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wake up, guys, wake up, it's a boat, wake up, wake up.
Oh my god!
You want to pay attention. It's the new Tier 1 Premium for Britain. V-Class, pretty much standard, so nothing immensely different. Valhalla, I mean, the name's cool, it's got that going for it. And either way, nice. I always like these because they come with nice camos, and I'm very, I like little things like that, so pretty big fan. There's not really too much to say because it's quite similar to what we have already, but nice. Standard really for early destroyers. It's not, breaking the mold with how it all works, but either way, nice. Nice to see it. More the merrier. Are we ready?
Now, I'm going to invite you to the session. We're going to be showing you our new map as well, Sun City. I'm going to be driving around a bit in my new shiny Challenger 2. And Tom is going to be bringing out, you have the H64D and I believe the A-10 as well, don't you?
Yepers.
Okay, so we're going to be trying out the APS system against Hellfires and against the A-10's AGM-65B as well. So you can see how effective the system is in actual battle.
What first?
Let's try the Hellfires first.
Okay.
This way you can also show how you can actually disable multiple incoming missiles at once. This is the layout of the map, if you want to take a screenshot.
How about you drive around the map as well later on and have a look at all of the sites?
Well, I mean, I'm going to drive around.
All of the advertisements.
As you are, as far as I'm concerned, you're not here. There's no enemies on this map. It's fine. I'm just going to have a nice roll about, a nice stroll on this new map, which is very deserty themed. Now, the Challenger does have a commander side, of course, as well as being able to aim the gun from there. On the bottom left, you can see the active protection system charges. So you have 2 on the left side, 2 on the right side. The way APS on this particular tank works, by the way, is you have these grenades inside, the launchers, which have a set fuse, and it allows them to airburst in the vicinity of an incoming missile. It's not with shrapnel, it's mostly based on the pressure of the high explosive, as to avoid collateral damage. If you have infantry nearby, for example, it would not be ideal if you fill them with a shrapnel grenade. And just say that.
Yes.
Of course, in game, it doesn't really make a major difference other than, well, you are basically immune to ATGMs. I don't believe this kill system will deflect tank shells, except for HFS. We may have to try that out later on if we have some time. Tom over there is already looking at me.
Bloop.
Oh no. I have a laser warning.
Oh no.
Where's this missile coming from?
What will you do?
Oh no.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway.
Don't worry about it, it's fine.
I'm just going to continue driving around a bit, shall I? Maybe launch 2 this time.
Alright, well I've done 1. There we go, there's 2.
I'm going to turn away. I show you my back, Tom.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm not sure if that angle will be good.
I'm a bit too high, yeah. Well, in the middle. Maybe go back towards the desert and look around at all the buildings while you're there.
Actually, you can do a aerial view as well of the city.
Yep. Have a look. Have a look. Lots of very long sight lines, which is going to be interesting at least. I don't think there's really a map that's quite like this in terms of how the sight lines work. As you can see, there's a lot of just straight open ground. With a little, well, not a huge amount of cover to go in between. So it's going to play very differently to I think a lot of what we have already. Obviously, it's hard to really kind of get a good idea of how it's going to play in a very limited perspective like this, but it's different. I'm going to have to see how that's going to work. I can't really...
I'm in the meantime moving on towards the seaside. This reminds me a little bit of Vice City, the seaside area.
Yeah.
It's quite nice, I like it.
I can see that.
Got some advertisements here as well. What's this?
That's the most normal one.
Save power. Incredible.
What's
Is it a battery bank?
What else have we got on the buildings?
We have a Pete Show, Peter Parsons.
The Pete Show.
What else do we have around here?
Interesting.
Wow, that's just terrible.
Interesting.
Very interesting advertisements on this map, indeed.
Yep.
Okay, can you get a lock on me?
I can certainly give it a go.
This time try firing 2 Hellfires at the same time.
Okay.
To see if we can overwhelm my APS system.
2 are zooming.
Well, anyway. But we have to prove it now. We have to prove that this is not just some black magic that we just made the tank invulnerable. Try and kill me now with the missiles, if you can.
I need to get a bit further away again. In the meantime, maybe see if you can find the grocery store.
Oh, whereabouts would that be?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. You should be able to see it.
Wait. Okay, no,
we have the
not
orange
one.
bank. That's good. That's a good start.
I think I saw Tomato Man.
Busted Camp Crab Company.
Tomato Man!
The Tomato Man grocery store I think is my favorite. And the ambiguous pasta shop as well. That one's really good. Where are you? Oh, I need to move a little bit to the left.
I do love gifts. Yes.
See, it knows. It's like peak advertising. It knows what you want.
Well, Tom, I think my time on this planet is short, so...
I don't know if they're all going to hit you.
None of them will hit me.
At least we can see, you know, the most truthful news agency.
Yes, very much so.
That's really good.
Well, since you are shooting me with guns, why don't we try this system out against the A-10?
Let's do that. Why not?
So I'm actually going to respawn now, so I have my active protection charges back up. Tom's going to bring out the A-10 with the AGM-65s, and we're going to see if maybe the explosive power of the A-10 can overwhelm the APS system of the Black Knight. I'm going to spawn again on the seaside, and Tom is going to bring out his AGM-65. Drop backwards a bit to be a bit more exposed. Now, Tom, since we are here, why don't we give the chat a little bit more bird sounds? You can get a little wind-up of the Gatling gun as well.
Yeah, it's nice. And it's different in the cockpit as well.
Oh yeah, what's better is show the cockpit a bit as well.
Pretty good. I'm a fan. This is one of the joysticks that I had. I had the A10 joystick.
Oh yeah, no, that was one of those.
I did like a manual labor job for 2 weeks to afford that. It's horrible. It was just carrying bags of concrete upstairs all day.
Ooh.
While Tony just sat there and drank tea with too much sugar in it. Poor woman we were working with had to like buy 3 bags of sugar, like when we finished her basement, which didn't even finish. They just gave up. That was the worst job I ever did. Not a fan of that anyway.
To your left on the... not quite on the seaside, but close enough. Near the spawn. I'm actually going to fire in the air a bit.
Oh, I think I see you. Yes.
You can see. There you go.
So I have my ancient keybinds here. Okay.
Okay, missile is out. Can I see it? I think it ran out of rocket booster, but it will be incoming soon enough.
Yes, it should be. There we go.
I'm gonna rotate around a little bit. This is basically worst case scenario. Imagine I'm being completely unaware of the AGM coming in, and I'm showing my side, which is my weakest armor. But apart from a broken track, I am perfectly fine. This is APS in the works. Now, Tom, someone in chat asked about a ground perspective of the gun run. So,
okay, should I gun run you or somewhere near you?
Do me. Just finish me off. Just end my misery.
Okay. Very well.
Oh no. I can hear a plane. Have mercy. That hurt, Tom.
That's so nice, though. Like, it hits just as you hope it's gonna hit. Like, in terms of the noise and everything, like, it's just nice. I like that.
That hurt me deep. All right, there you go. That is the new map and the APS system of the Black Knight in action. Let's move on to the next vehicle, which is going to be for the Japanese. Japan gets a new battleship. I'm going to quickly exit back to the hangar, and there we go. All right. For the Japanese in this patch, you are getting the IGN Congo in its 1944 configuration. With less firepower than the Hyuga, it has a few lesser guns, although of the same caliber. But it does still have access to SAP, which is pretty decent for a battleship. What the Congo brings is higher speed, higher crew count, and most importantly, a ton of AA.
Yes, it's a really pretty ship. Like, the tower is really nice.
The Japanese towers are something very special to them, don't they?
Yeah. It reminds me of the tower in Professor Layton in the Curious Village. I don't know why it reminds me of that, but it's just... I know, it's like lots of little things built on top of each other, so it just gives me the same vibe. I like it.
Well, it seems to have an aircraft there. Let's see what my AA thinks of that. It does very much saturate the area. I'm not entirely sure if it gets any kind of fuse shells. I don't believe the Japanese had proxy fuses in the war. But I believe there are some timed fuse shells. Yeah, you can see those. And the plane basically has no chance. It's a lot of firepower, a lot of anti-aircraft firepower for a battleship especially. This is way over the Hyuga in terms of, well, self-defense capabilities. It's got a nice ship. The turrets turn kind of slow, not the best, and the guns are the same as on the Hyuga, so you know exactly what kind of firepower you can expect out of that. All right.
Very nice.
So let's move on to the next tank. China's getting some interesting stuff.
China's actually getting some like a handful of stuff. I don't know too much about this one, the ZTZ-88A. It's very similar to the premium T69 2G, but without the ERA, so obviously no ERA blocks. But it does have this block of armor on the front, which is currently at about 100 millimeters of thickness, around 90. And this actually adds a lot. It's a really strong front plate if this is to stay the same. Heat's going to struggle, even I believe we got the dart round is going to struggle a little bit to get through there as well. No such improvements on the turret, but hull right now is pretty good if this is going to stay the way it is. Apart from that, it's a pretty standard MBT design. There's not really a huge amount different with it. You still have the somewhat slow turret traverse speed, but the rounds are all pretty good. Same as what you can get on the premium option, and with a lot of the technical aspects the same as well. So it's nice. It's nice to have as you know, a lineup vehicle. You can use it in, well, there's a pretty nice lineup at 8.7, and even above that, you know, it's still going to work fine. So nice to have it. All the more the merrier. Very much.
Indeed. And this is not the only tank that Chinese are getting. You are also getting a prototype of the ZTZ-96A. The way this one differs from the tech tree version is not having ERA on the turret front, but having some ATGM dazzlers on the sides of the turrets. This is not hard kill APS. These won't immediately stop an ATGM coming in, but with some luck it will be able to disrupt the aiming of said missiles. Currently a battery 9.7, of course, keep in mind this is all a work in progress. This will be available as a premium in the upcoming update. What is not a premium is this, a new top tier jet for China at 11.3, the J8B. It looks like it has MiG-21 wings.
Yeah,
it's way bigger.
It's a really interesting, likely proportioned plane, actually.
It is very aesthetic. There's something about the twin engine aircraft designs that I really like.
Yeah.
It also has this this folding under winglet, kind of like the MiG-23 has. It's a very interesting aircraft overall. I am liking it. And what this one will have, or rather bring new to the Chinese air tree, is radar missiles, SARH missiles, semi-active radar guiding. I'm not entirely sure what the stats are. They are currently not available, but they should be roughly in line with the AIM-7s of the Americans. Not the later ones. Think more of the early ones. So yeah, new top tier jet for China, looking very spicy. Now, China aren't the only ones getting a new top tier jet, are they?
No.
We have finally for the Italians something that has been awaited for a long time. Tom?
Yes, 104S ASA. Pretty interesting. Although a bit of a even 11.0, but it's really nice to have it all the same. But so it's like some takeaways and some some pros for this one. It doesn't have an internal gun, and it doesn't get any flares at 11.0, but it does get 4 AM9Ls, which is really good. But F104 performance with no flares and no internal gun, I don't know really if that offsets the advantage of the AM9L. Obviously, they're really powerful, but they can still be flared, and after you run out of them, then there's not really a lot that you can do. So it's really nice to have it, of course. It's really the only thing Italy could really get at this stage, and until there's more developments in the future. But yeah, not really sure on this one yet. But it's very nice to have. Maybe there's some more options available in the future. Maybe it could mount flares. I don't actually know. I'm not really that well versed in modern stuff. But either way, it's nice to have. I'll have to see how it goes.
Those are not AM9Ls though, are they?
No, these are the...
Those are some interesting missiles.
See if I can show the stats here of the... I don't want to pronounce it. I'll do it wrong. Sounds stupid.
I mean, we're going to pronounce everything wrong once we get to the Israeli tanks, so go ahead.
That's kind of true. Either way, yeah. Nice missile options, really, really nice. But flight performance and defensive options are not really too standout right now. But we will have to see how that goes. Nice though, like the camo, little metallic sheen in the middle, pretty nice. And along with this as well, we have the Albatross for the coastal fleet, which is nice. This is it's almost like an analog to the Lübeck for Germany. So pretty nice. It's as a ship, it's pretty slow. Doesn't really have any protection in terms of well, for 3.7, especially against even early destroyers, it's not that well protected. But the automatic 76mm cannons, and I believe they should have fuses as well. So really good against air. And light craft, not really that good against bigger ships. But anyway, it's really nice to have bolsters the lineup. But the Italian Navy was sort of the most lacking, I think, in terms of stronger, larger ships. So this rounds it off quite nice. Good to have it. Nice to see.
I believe it also gets proxy fuses for the main guns, which should be quite interesting against aircraft.
It does.
Okay.
I did say that.
Sorry about that.
Something I said.
France is getting some interesting stuff as well.
France are getting some interesting stuff.
Why are we whispering?
I don't really have any idea. Shall we have a look?
Ahead. Let's have a look.
First, we can briefly show the B-26C, French version. I don't really know there's really many differences with this one.
It should be mostly identical.
Should be mostly. So yeah, France used it a lot. I'm kind of hoping that we can see like maybe an unlockable camo for the metallic version, because they use that unpainted quite a lot, and that'll be quite nice. The most nicest thing is probably this little tiny boy. Look at that. Look how small.
So small.
I will take this into a test drive. We can quickly look at the armor. Not immensely impressive, but you can slug off some heavy MGs. But 2 crew, not immensely well protected. The 90mm as well, with heat, smoke, and HE standard. And I will briefly show this in a test drive, just so I can show you the perspective of the height and how small it is. Probably the most sad thing is that the turret does not traverse all the way, kind of gets stuck here. So you don't have a complete traversal rate. And bear in mind, I'm on a completely stock vehicle. There's no mobility upgrades, so expect it to be a bit more nippy. It's very nice and really, really small. And one thing I don't know if you can really see here, but if you look at the bottom of the screen with the shell icons, they have been updated in terms of the scale of them. So I believe they're now at 4K. It was before they were a bit blurry. So the tow hook at the bottom is still a little bit blurry, but I think everything else is up to standard, which is really nice. So this is up to like a Panzer II-C, and it's still a very small family tank.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that tiny.
It's that small. It's really, really small.
Okay.
So yeah, it's nice. It's really sweet. I like things like this. It's nice we have it. I mean, it's not going to be like changing anything up in a big way, I think, but it works in the lineup. You can use it in up tiers. It's going to be really annoying to fight in certain situations, but pretty fun. I mean, the lack of traverse is going to hurt it a little bit, but either way, it's nice that we finally have it. I've been waiting for this for a while. I've been seeing clips of this internally for like over a year, so it's nice that we have it. But yep. Really
I am
nice.
slightly disappointed it doesn't have scouting abilities at the moment, given that it's such a small vehicle. It would be perfect for that role.
Yeah.
But classified as tank destroyer, at least for the time being, it does not have scouting. Not very survivable, I can see.
Yes, absolutely. But nice. Very nice. I'm a fan.
All right. And that, I believe, is it for France at the moment. Sweden is getting some interesting stuff. Spoilers, the Israel tank tree is not the only new tree coming out in this game, this patch. But we'll get to that in a second. First off, let's show off the new tank for the Swedes, the STRV-105. This is basically a vastly improved Centurion. It has the 105mm cannon with access to this APDS shell. You can see it in the screen right now if you want to take some screenshots.
Reddit.
You also have thermal vision and a laser rangefinder, which for a tank with APFSDS and a stabilized cannon is going to be pretty damn nice. As well as ERA and all the good stuff. But what is this, Tom? What are these weird things here at the bottom?
Oh no, not me.
What's... Oh, by the way, this is where the STRV-105 is. If you want to check it out, I think you can see it. What? This is new.
Yeah, what does that mean? Well,
That's all very new.
yeah.
Well, kind of. The Swedes are getting helicopters in this patch as well, although not entirely new. These are modifications of various helicopters from other nations. For example, here you can clearly see this is a Huey. This particular one is the lowest batch rating helicopter currently for the Swedes, and it has very, very slow ATGMs. Now, these are semi-automatic, so you can just aim them with your mouse. You don't have to control them with your keyboard. But look at the maximum speed, 85 meters per second.
Oh, loud. That's a bit of a yikes.
It's going to take forever for the missile to get anywhere. So you kind of have to get very close with this helicopter, and getting close to the battlefield with a helicopter is not ideal. Not ideal. Although at least you get 6 of them, so you have plenty of backups. And again, of course, everything is subject to change, battle rating, placeholders, and all the good stuff. We also have a version of the French Alouette. This one has basically the SS-11 missiles, which you should be familiar with. Of course, these are also semi-automatic instead of keyboard aim, so you can aim them with your mouse, no problem. The SS-11 missiles are not too bad. Next up, we have 2 versions of the German Bo 105 helicopter. The first one with tow 1s, and the second one with some upgraded tows, although in lower numbers. I can also show you the modifications here. Interestingly, the upgraded one is capable of using thermal vision, which is going to be quite interesting, quite useful for spotting enemy tanks, something that the earlier version cannot do, even though it has more missiles. And then finally, we have a Apache. Everyone gets an Apache.
Everyone
the
gets
Japanese
one.
have an Apache, the Israelis have an Apache, Sweden has an Apache, America has multiple Apaches. And this one features basically the same loadouts as the other Apaches. You have access to RB-74, which are AIM-9Ls, as far as I'm aware. These are all aspect. And, of course, Hellfires as well, because what would be an Apache without a Hellfire, right? So you can look forward to that for the Swedes. They're going to be having some more CAS options in the near future. Now, let's move on to, well, what is actually the big update in this patch, isn't it?
Yep.
We have an entire tree of tanks available in the next update. Tom, well, show some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have them all unlocked, so I can't show everything here. But this is the tree as it is right now. There is a fair few more things to come. I think a lot of them, but several aren't going to be making it for this update, but there's still more to see for next update than we can see in the tree right now. Starting off with a lot of vehicles that are quite similar, familiar rather. Also, M51 with the cast hull, pretty nice. I like that. Aesthetically, I think it just works better for me. I like that, even though, you know, not really as good, but either way, very nice aesthetically. And there's a lot of the early stuff, it doesn't really change too much. There's sort of the earlier versions. Nice base skin, though. I quite like that.
The Magach 1 and the Magach 2 are based on the M48. The later Magach 6 is based on the M60.
French stuff as well. Shot is the Centurion with a 50 cal on top, which is very, very nice.
I loved when the tank has a 50 cal. 50 cal makes everything better.
Yes, absolutely does. Yeah, it's only in the later tiers that we start getting things a little bit different. Obviously, this is one of the most interesting. I really like things like this. They're a little bit weird. ATGM carrier. It's just, I don't know, I like it. Little box.
I can't take it seriously.
Little box with SS11s on it, basically.
I believe these are also keyboard aimed, aren't they?
I don't know. I think there was something about them being semi-automatic, but not really. It needs some like external system to use them automatically. I'm not sure. I have to see on that one. For the rest, there's little changes compared to what we have. We don't have the Magak Premium, the Shotcal Premium here yet. I don't know if those are coming in the next update or afterwards, but they should be here at some point soon, probably for GE, I would imagine. But the rest is quite similar. The Premium, especially the Centurions, which are very, very nice.
50 cal again.
50 cal as well. Standard ammo options, nothing really too different in terms of what we have already. This is the 2B early as opposed to the late, which I think is in the American tree. This is the highest we have right now. There are more Macavers that you will see next update. They're not all quite ready yet. So we have some of the early stuff. They're really pretty as MBTs go. I think they're just, I don't know, they're so disconnected from how other vehicles sort of look and even perform, really. So I like that.
They are very unique. One thing I really like about the Merkavas is that they're very focused on crew survivability. So you have all this, the fuel tanks, the transmission, the engine all in the front, and a separate armor compartment for most of the crew, which makes them quite survivable to frontal shots.
Very, very nice.
Now, there's one specific vehicle I'm really excited about. Can you show the Macbeth?
The what?
Macbeth.
You say Macbeth? Don't say it one more time, otherwise we're cursed. Yes. I love the little bits on the side.
Amazing.
It's brilliant,
looks so
right?
good.
It has so much charm, like personality to it. I really like that. I mean, the VAD system I don't like as an anti-air, really. I don't think it's that reliable. But the extra missiles that you have, it's pretty nice. I can't really complain, ultimately. 9.3, pretty much fine. It's not really, and again, we have the standard option beforehand. Not something I'm like immensely keen on, but I don't really know. There's too many options they have. But nice. And I think everything else is seen a lot already. There's not really too many new things to look at. I believe there's a lot more, like the most interesting and unique versions are nearly finished. There's a couple I think that might be exactly when, but quite soon I think we can see the
spoilers, Tom.
Yeah, the other versions. But
just some other things as well. There's an aircraft and a helicopter, which aren't new, but they're now being integrated into the Israeli trees. So we have, I can actually quickly show that, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I mentioned this before during the previous few streams. The American Premium AH-64 will be removed from the American tech tree, at least from sale, and will be introduced into the Israeli tech tree. What this means for you is, if you already have the American version, you get to keep the American version. If you don't have the American version, after this update, you will no longer be able to buy it. If you already have the American version, you will not get the Israeli version. It's a separate vehicle. It just won't be able to be bought anymore for the American tech tree. So keep it in mind. Same thing that happened with the French Premium F-84, which is now in the Israeli tree. Okay, and I think that is basically it. We still have a little bit of time, so if you guys have some questions, leave them in the chat. We can try and answer a few before we head off and leave you guys with, well, the ability to check these things out for yourself.
What are you saying, Mike? What are you saying?
What I am saying is that you will want to be downloading the Dev Server client because it may be opening soon. And there is going to be a rather big upgrade because we mentioned this before. Some of the new features of this update are things like 4K textures, which are optional. These are entirely optional. You don't need to download the 4K clients, but even if you have the standard client, you still need to re-download the texture. So there's going to be a big update for this dev server, a big download. And depending on your download speed, on your internet speed, it may take a while to get everything installed. But don't worry, I think the dev server should be open for quite a while.
Yep.
So we have plenty of time.
Here's the Tyran 4S that we have right now. I love the dinky little gun on the top. It looks like a toy. This thing looks really nice with the camouflage, actually. Like, yeah, in terms of protection, no darts, no APHE, just the chemical and the Sabo. But pretty nice. Like to see it.
Slaviker on Twitch asked where the Puma is located. The Puma is located right here in between the Mother 1A3 and the TAM. And yes, it also has fused HE shells, although I'm not entirely sure if these are timed or if these are proxy fuses. I believe these are timed ones, so they should not be that useful against enemy aircraft. Can you reload the ammo for the APS? That is a good question. Let's actually try that out real quick if I can. In the meantime, maybe you can take another question.
Yeah, someone's asking what the thermals are like on the Black Knight, and I will be able to show you that as well. So that Gen 3? Looks like Gen 3. I can't really see on this monitor.
Looks pretty decent, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this is a very modern tank, so it wouldn't make sense for it to be Gen 3.
Indeed. Yep. Pretty thermals.
I
Nice.
can show the APS again real quick as well. We had tested this earlier. If you have just tuned in and you missed out, the APS does work against Hellfires and AGM-65Bs, for example. And they can also take multiple at the same time. Now, I'm going to see if the APS will let you reload in the capture circle, or if you are limited. Can you show the US tech tree again? Tom, maybe you can do that?
Yep, let's checking one other thing first.
It is actually reloading, so there you go. At least currently, the APS system seems to be reloadable on capture zones, although quite slowly, so keep that in mind. Arctos, the Puma gets APFSDS. I'm not sure about APS right now, at least not currently in this build. Did any top tier plane like the F4J, F4F, F4EJ get AIM-9L? Nope. As far as I'm aware, no.
Not yet. Or at all. I don't know. Yeah, means with things like this, it's something that can come in the future and not in the first iteration. So maybe it does, but I have no idea, really. Probably not, if I had to guess, but I'll have to see. It's the tree right now.
There's the tree. You can see the A-10 slots in right between the A-7D and the AV-8. Can you also show the tank tree? And that is where the LAV-AD sits at. Again, it's not a radar SPA, so don't expect to be shooting down enemy aircraft unless you use the Stingers. And even then, the Stingers are not ideal against enemy aircraft, but it's a pretty mobile platform with a decent gun to harass people from the sides,
and yeah,
as well as take out...
The launcher is switchable, person who asked. I believe if you just deselect it, you get double the launchers. But yeah, up to you. Whatever you like.
The A-10 is currently at 9.7, but keep in mind that this is placeholder battle ratings. How is gonna new graphics look like on ultra low quality? It shouldn't really change. There's going to be 3 different clients. The standard one, which has the 2K graphics, the 2K textures. The upgraded one, which will have 4K, 8K textures, which is actually what we used during the stream. Not sure if you were able to see the differences too much, given the compression that is happening on YouTube and on Twitch. But it's going to be looking very good. I can tell you from experience, it looks very nice in-game if you have those textures enabled. And there's also going to be a 720p texture pack for ultra low quality. So ideally, ultra low quality is actually going to get a better performance. Technically, the textures don't affect the performance directly, but if you have a graphics card with low VRAM, it should help in not maxing that out.
Japanese ship tree, the Conga comes after the Yokohama. Oh, no.
Okay. Well, I believe this is going to be it for us today. Once again, download the dev server if you want to try these things out for yourself. They will be opening up soon, TM. There you can check out all the vehicles that we have shown today, check out the new graphics, check out the new mechanics, and all that good stuff.
No stats yet on these.
Yeah, no stats on those yet. Keep in mind, this is all pretty early still. Things will be continuously developed. New vehicles may be added in the time it takes for the update to release. So yeah, have some fun and enjoy the brrt. You know what? Actually, just for good matter. Tom, we have one last brrt.
Go, go, go. Do it.
Will the USS Arizona come this patch? I think so, yeah. That was the one announced on the devlog, wasn't it? Yeah, it's there.
That's this one.
Yes, it's Arizona. It's right there.
After Wyoming.
Currently, the A-10 only has the AGM-65Bs. Those are the only ones currently available.
AMD comes after the T-55.
Well, we shall leave you with one last birding action. I'm going to open up my cockpit because I might as well. Open up my CCIP. Yes, this does get CCIP for the gun. Computer-controlled impact point, so you can exactly judge where you need your bullets to go. We're going to push that SPAA and...
I can almost hear the engine from here, so this is going to be a loud chant. That took a long time to jam as well.
Lots of ammo as well. You can do a fair few runs.
Yes. Very nice.
Well, thank you much for watching the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this preview of the upcoming update. We shall see you again soon, and enjoy your weekend. My name was Mike.
I likewise am here as well.
And goodbye.